Well, hello there, me lad. So good to see you again. I see that you've decided to join me out in my homeland of Ireland. Well, why don't you and I get to it? We've got another cryptid to hunt. You never want to underestimate a cryptid hunt, the usefulness of getting a good blessing before you head out on the hunt. Now, you might be wondering, what kind of cryptid creature are we going to be hunting for today? Well, it's a little thing, not too important, not too big, a little thing called a dragon. No, not just any dragon, me boy. Oh, they say that a long time ago, back when Saint Patrick was a praying and was attacked by the horde of snakes, and he prayed and said, "Get out of here, you snakes!" And they went a crawling away. That one great slithering beastie, so large that when he cut out, he made the river Shannon with his tail as it cut through the land. They called him the Oilliphéist. Now, the Oilliphéist was said to be so large that when he was going, he accidentally ate up a piper when he was going, a drunken piper, but he kept on piping away in the belly of the Oilliphéist. And it annoyed him so much that he spat him out before leaving Ireland, which is why supposedly we have the story of this tale. Now you might be asking me, why would we be out hunting a creature that's left hundreds of years ago? Well, me boy, he's back. No one knows exactly why the Oilliphéist has come back. Some say that the powers of St. Patrick have begun to weaken as less and less of me compatriots go to church. Some say that it's breeding time and he's come back to Ireland to lay eggs, and that the he is really a she. And some say it just feels like it. We don't really know, but what we do know is that a great big dragon has come to our shores, and we need to get it gone. Now, how do you be getting rid of it? Well, we could get another St. Patrick, but the world is a little short in holy men right now. Someone who can pray proper and make the dragons leave. Of course, there's another dragon slayer, St. George the Dragon, over down a little south of here. But we're also a little short on heroes, people who can just get a big old spear and go and slay themselves a dragon. We don't have too many of those these days either. So, what are you and I to do? Well, don't you know? We have the third option. We have to follow the story. Now, we don't know exactly how St. Patrick got all of those snakes to leave. We know that he prayed and we know that they left. But we do know one other thing. The only reason we know about the Oilliphéist is because he ate himself a drunken piper. So, you and I must make the ultimate Irish sacrifice. We've got to go and get stinking drunk. I'm talking drunker than you've ever been, me boyo. I'm talking so 3 sheets to the wind that you can't tell now from Tuesdays with 2 hands and a candle. Are you willing to make the sacrifice with me? Ha ha! I knew I could count on you. Except one little thing. I'm going to have you pretend to drink. You're going to be what we call in the scientific arena the control to the experiment. You see, we don't know exactly what the circumstances were that led to this piper being drunk. Was it because of his fluting? Or was it because of his drinking? Or was it because of blind luck? So, I will be getting stinking drunk, and you will not. But you will have the honor of playing the pipes and getting this here little lizard all riled up. And you and I are gonna get swallowed up. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's probably not the best idea, to be swallowed whole by this lizard. But we know for a fact that the original piper was able to survive. We have, in fact, his writings. And let me say, his writings do indicate that he had a drink or two. But, this lizard swallows whole his victims, and they go right down the gullet, and there is a great open space before they're moved to the digestion. So, what we need to find out is if this lizard doesn't care for the piping, and that's what gets you out, or if it's what attracts you, and that's what gets you in. We don't know. One of us two is gonna make it in. We're both going to have our little earpieces so we can keep in touch with one another. And if one of us gets eaten first, then once we get ate up, we can help the other by telling what's going on. We're also going to be, let's say, have the less subtle option. Both of us are going to have several sticks of dynamite that we will have handy with waterproof matches. If all else fails, we'll light it from inside and blow up the beast from the in. Here's my concern. If this creature is in fact coming back to nest, we cannot let that happen. We cannot let a creature that dangerous and that big go and lay a bunch of babies. We have to stop it one way or another. And if that's the case, even if it means you or I must be willing to make the sacrifice. That's why they pay us cryptid hunters the big bucks. All right, well, they don't really pay us. And they also don't believe in us. And they also often hate us and mock us and spit upon us. But we do it anyway because, lad, it's the right thing to do. Do you have any other suggestions of what we might do? I must admit that is an appealing idea. We could leave out a great casket of beer or wine to see if that's what attracts the beast. Also, we could leave out a stereo system playing classical pipey music and see if that attracts or repels the beast. I must admit, I like your modernistic thinking that involves one of us not being digested or blown up. We'll try that. But if it doesn't work, then we've still got the cast for me to get stinking drunk. So, what do you say, my lad? Are you willing to take down a dragon that was once banished by Saint Patrick himself? Good. Then let's get going. Let's get that lovely beer. And let's get out and fight a dragon. I hope you have enjoyed this roleplay riot. If you are enjoying it, could you do me a favor? Could you down below, click on the link and support me on my Patreon. I've got some amazing Patreon supporters, and in fact, this very video was suggested by one of my Patreon supporters, Max. Max, you are the best. You are the very best, and I appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you all for my Patreon supporters, and thank you for supporting Role Play